Welcome to Cologne for the International Federation of Freestyle Motocrossers Night of the Jumps. You have come in just at the tail end of the highest air contest that precedes our final for the FIM World Championship. Currently led by Matt Rabo, the defending champion from Switzerland. But Limo Podmol of the Czech Republic, the 20-year-old, has just won the Night of the Jumps highest air contest here in Cologne, which precedes the final in which the top 6 riders go for points in the World Championship. A World Championship currently held by Matt Rabo. He leads the standings at round 9 with rounds 10, 11 and 12 to come in Germany and Poland before the end of November. But here on Saturday night, October the 14th, we're in Cologne, the Cologne Arena in Germany for the 9th round of the International Freestyle Motocross FIM World Championship Series. The winner will get 20 points. Who's it going to be? Cologne Arena in Cologne, in the centre of Germany, where this beautiful city is hosting round 9 of the International Freestyle Motocross FIM World Championship.
I'm from Italy. I have 26 years old, and I'm happy for this show.
And that was Massimo Bianconcini. As he's just told you, 26-year-old Italian from Bologna, the home of Ducati motorcycles, but he won't be out there on a Ducati. He'll be out there on something a lot more suitable and looking for points in the Night of the Jumps in Cologne. Contest led by Matt Rabo of Switzerland at the moment, ahead of Andre Villa of Norway, Limo Podmol of the Czech Republic, who's just won that highest air contest. Fredrik Johansson of Sweden is line 4th, ahead of Øystein Kårstad, the second Norwegian in the top 5, and South African Nick de Wit. Well, the man being introduced to the crowd now is the Massimo Bianconcini, one of the first Italian FMX stars to do the backflip, which of course is...
I'm 23 years old. I'm from Prague, Czech Republic. Tonight's the World FIM Freestyle Motocross Championship here in Cologne. It's my first event, and I hope it's going to be a good time.
So, Martin Koren making his first appearance from the Czech Republic. 23-year-old, rides to Kawasaki. Loves his BMX and his snowboarding when he's not out doing this. Been motocross racing since 1995, started out as a 13-year-old on motocross, and also is a hockey player, rather unusually for a guy who likes his motorcycles.
So my name is Morgan Carlson. I'm 26 years old, from Sweden only, but I live in Spain, Alicante. I'm really looking forward to tonight, and I really hope that everyone will come away from this with a smile on the face and ready for party tonight.
So Morgan Carlson in his first outing in the Night of the Jumps, riding an RM250 Suzuki. 25-year-old, as he mentioned, now residing in Alicante. Racing motocross since 1998. FMX just for the last 3 years.
Hi, I'm Alvaro Dalfarra from Italy. I have 29 years old. I'm older. And I started motocross freestyle in 2002. And now I'm in Cologne for big show. See you later. Bye.
Alvaro Dalfarra from Belluno in Italy. Spent 8 years as a rugby player and is obviously deeply influenced by the Americans when it comes to developing a bit of a snarl. Rides again for Kawasaki. These guys, of course, all on the 250cc two-stroke bikes.
29 years old from Berlin. I'm a FMX pro, and we're here at the Night of the Jumps in Cologne, my old hometown. And so I'm feeling good in front of all my friends. The track is great, the ramps are great. I'm feeling great. So I'm looking out for a great night tonight.
Would you believe it, at the Suzuki-backed Night of the Stars, it's the 29-year-old who's been riding Suzuki for a very, very long time, Sebastian Busti-Volta, the winner of the first ever FMX contest to be held here in Germany back in 1999, the Aircross. So the Berlin sports student, an active motocrosser since 1987, and into freestyle since 1995, one of the original stars of European freestyle.
20 years old. I come from France, exactly Bergerac, and tonight's going to be a good night, I think, because it's high level and we're going to see big tricks. I hope so.
A typical Frenchman. This kid, 19-year-old Rémi Bizouard, just entered the IFMXF scene in 2005. The night of the jumps in Bern was his premier appearance. And of course, he almost got to be part of the Red Bull X-Fighters in Madrid. He was on the reserve list. But whichever way you look at it, sadly or thankfully, nobody crashed, nobody got injured, and Rémi Bizouard didn't manage to get a goal. But he's made it through to the final here. Rémi Bizouard currently lying 11th in this championship series. Incidentally, Englishman Chris Brock is in 8th place in this championship. Busty Walter down in 14th place ahead of Nick Franklin and Ronnie Renner. Not everybody, of course, has done all the rounds, and certainly tonight the championship leader Matt Rabot from Switzerland is missing. So we've got Bianconcini, Coren, Carlsen, Dalfara, Walter and Rémi Bizouard make up the numbers. Rémi Bizouard coming with a big reputation for a kid so young who's not been in this game long. It'll be interesting to see what he can pull off. He's finished 6th in the night of the jumps at Bern in Switzerland in 2005 from Bergerac in France. He rides the Yamaha YZ250. So we've got an interesting variation here of the vastly experienced, like the 29-year-olds Alvaro Dalfara and Busty Walter, down to the 19-year-old Frenchman Rémi Bizouard. Our 6 contestants in the final, incidentally, came through from a starting order qualification. There were 60 seconds, 7 jumps for their qualifying to make it through into the top 6. 13 riders originally took part. Toby Imler from Germany, Massimo Bianconcini. Øystein Kårstad, the Norwegian, didn't make it through, nor too did German Freddie Peters. Fabian Bauersach, also from Germany. Jay Rouenet from France. Jimmy Fitzpatrick, the only American in the lineup tonight. And rather surprisingly, Libor Podmol, another man who was at the Red Bull X-Fighters in Madrid. He also didn't make it through to the final from the Czech Republic. So our lineup for the final: Bianconcini of Italy, Carlsen of Sweden, Coren of the Czech Republic, Dalfara of Italy, 2 Italians unusually in the final, Rémi Bizouard of France, Sebastian Walter of Germany. I mentioned that Rabot, who was the winner of the last 2 outings in his home country of Bern on the 19th and 20th of May, he was the winner of both those rounds 7 and 8. We originally kicked off, incidentally, at the beginning of the season, and way back, in fact, in February the 25th and 26th at the Olympiahalle in Innsbruck in Austria for the 1st and 2nd rounds of the World Championship Series, and then March the 4th and 5th at the Fila Forum in Milan, rounds 3 and 4, and then April the 1st, would you believe, and 2nd, obviously they're not superstitious in Germany, at Bremen, the AWD Dome for World Championship rounds 5 and 6. And then the rounds in Bern that were dominated by Matt Rabot, the 19th and 20th of May, rounds 7 and 8. This is Massimo Bianconcini then. He is the first of the finalists to come out. And of course, qualification just 60 seconds. The final requires 90 seconds, a minute and a half, 10 jumps to be counted. The last jump named as a double up counts double. So a packed arena here in the Cologne arena. Waits to see whether Bianconcini can produce an Italian victory. You can see that he's got an assortment of, and he gets straight into the action there with an Indian air. He's got an assortment of ramps to play with. Another Indian air combination from Bianconcini. And he goes for a big rock solid, gets himself up off the back of the bike, lets go with both hands. And then goes for the good old Guy Cooper whip. Not the smartest whip in the business. And another rock solid, followed by a quick Superman seat grab to bring himself back on board. Gentleman there explaining the techniques. And a huge double switchblade there from the Italian. And he gets himself right up on the back end of the bike there for a Superman seat grab. That was pretty close to being a ruler. He didn't really get himself as vertical as he'd like to have done. And then the classic heart attack, as invented originally by the American Carrie Hart. Bianconcini, at the night of the jumps in Milan, he brought out a couple of his backflips. And he won the night of the jumps whip contest in Milan back in 2005. One of the founder members of the Italian FMX Dabut team, next to his the other Italian in this final, Alvaro Dal Fara. Oh, and he goes for a pretty impressive ruler there. Tsunami even. It was an impressive one. A good one to finish on. That presumably is his double up score, and it was probably, having given himself a break and a breather before it, the best thing he came up with tonight.
Das heißt, mit seinem Lauf jetzt zu Ende, aber normalerweise springt einen Backflip. Warum heute Abend nicht? Normally you take a backflip, and why not tonight? Yeah, this week
that was a beauty. Definitely his best job tonight.
Tonight my head is not good, and after the big
the ultimate tsunami.
No backflip today. I'm happy. I'm going to the final with Alvaro. It's a good day for the Italian guy. Thank you. Woo! Nochmal euren Applaus für Massimo Bianconcini.
Bianconcini then goes to 245 points. Presently lying 17th overall in the World Championship. This looks to be one of the better nights he's headed for. Won the whip contest in Turin earlier this year. Also was 6th on the night of the jumps at Nuremberg. Oh, it's the dentist's chair then for Massimo Bianconcini. He's in the hot seat. That's a novel arrangement. We're right back to Paris-Bercy, where freestyle almost originated. Next man into the arena, Martin Koren from the Czech Republic, riding Kawasaki. And looking instantly excitable. The snowboarder and BMXer, sponsored by Horse Feathers, Motor X Oil, Alloy, MX and Race Tech. Began motor racing back in 1995 as a 13-year-old and also playing hockey. Back in 2005 he attained his first European Freestyle Championship victory, believe it or not, at Tel Aviv in Israel. His best placing 6th at the night of the jumps in Milan, and he goes for the first backflip of this final. A clean, straightforward backflip then from Martin Koren. And then a Superman double seat grab to follow that up. Martin Koren of the Czech Republic. We've got so far a score of 245. As we go first for the Indian Air from Martin Koren, we've got that Italian score of 245 for Bianconi. And perhaps a little more variety is needed here by Martin Koren if he's to defeat Bianconcini, I beg his pardon, and this time a one-handed rear fender seat grab. And a very, very quick, rather hasty lazy boy. It was rather an active lazy boy. He didn't really get the chance to lay it flat for very long. And at the moment, Bianconcini is looking to me like he might be safe in that #1 seat right now. That was a better, longer whip there from Martin Koren. So he's probably indicated now that he's going to go for his double score. This is the one that needs to be good, especially as Bianco made a good effort with his. Needs to get the grip as he hits the ramp. And he goes for a very quick one-handed, and spot the one-hand if you can, a one-handed backflip. The backflip still looked terrific, especially when you stood somewhere underneath him. So Martin Koren produces the second backflip of his run. And the interesting question will be how much the backflips count and how much more they count than the other jumps, because really Bianconcini, he didn't have a backflip in his routine, but it was a good one.
Ja, Martin Koren, ich muss euch mal eins erklären, er hatte letztes Jahr einen riesen Crash und jetzt ist er so stark zurückgekommen. Martin, unbelievable this morning. Every rider have big problems on the track, and you first time back in the IFMXF main event, and then you make 2 long distance backflips.
Yeah, it's great. It's really hard when you see your friends go down, but thank you all for keeping us up. You're great! Thank you, Colonia!
Ja, Leute, Martin Koren sagt, ihr seid wahnsinnig.
To be a true lazy boy, of course, you need to get your head right back.
Das Publikum ist immer sehr entscheidend und wir warten jetzt gleich auf die Lichtentscheidung. Je nachdem, wo das Licht ist, steht der bessere Fahrer. Ob es hier unten Massimo Bianconcini ist oder Martin Koren, das werden wir jetzt sehen.
So looking for the results then for Martin Koren of the Czech Republic.
Ja, und neuer Führender im Contest, Martin Koren aus der Tschechischen Republik.
274 points. Which means I think that he takes over the hot seat from a very distinctly disappointed looking Massimo Bianconcini. So second man out, Martin Koren goes into the hot seat. He currently the leader in the clubhouse, the man on pole position. Just adjusts his teeth and then heads upstairs. Now how comfortable is that seat? How long will he be there? The next one out, Morgan Karlsson from Sweden. With a score of 274 to aim for. Sponsored by Split, which is one of the great surfing companies. Etnies, Von Zipper, Fox, Suzuki, which is of course the motorcycle he's riding, Bud Racing and CC Racing products. Morgan Karlsson known as Moji. Oh, and he goes for a terrific Indian air. That's an extravagant one. Just 3 years on the FMX scene. Double-handed rear seat Superman grab. Rearrange those words into a well-known phrase or saying. And again, going for that tsunami. Landing the RM250 Suzuki. And getting, it was quite a nice walking rock solid going there. More of a Flintstone. And then going for the 360, the sort of look-back whip. Finding himself up on the earth at the side. just about dipping his face guard into the tank. That could have been painful. And then is Dennis the Menace top. Morgan has to now go for it. Now the lads seem to favour the final jump, except of course the backflip, which has been put down by Martin Corren. Now we've got the last big one coming up then for Morgan Karlsson of Sweden, the 25-year-old who now lives in Alicante, where he's got the weather to practice this stuff. Oh, okay. I wouldn't have thought that Martin Corren of the Czech Republic is in danger of losing that hot seat, but having said that, I didn't think that Massimo Bianconcini was either, so I'm probably pretty much definitely going to get it wrong. So that was Morgan Karlsson of Sweden.
Also unglaublich. You okay? You have problems with your knee or what's the problem? I don't hear one word you're saying, but I'm all fine. Also ist okay. Ich denke mal, unglaublicher Run. Is it a good night for you tonight here in Cologne? Yeah, I think so. I'm definitely satisfied. But I think I need to do some more laps on the motocross track, but I'm exhausted. Ja, also, ich denke mal, er ist auf jeden Fall richtig glücklich mit seiner Leistung. Ganz so
He was impressing Martin Corren.
gelaufen, aber vielleicht reicht es ja für den heißen Stuhl dort unten. Wir warten auf jeden Fall auf die Entscheidung der Judges und werden sehen, ob hier ein weiterer Suzuki-Fahrer unten auf den heißen Stuhl wechselt. Oh, Morten Karlsson geht auf den heißen Stuhl. Also Applaus hier für Morten Karlsson.
180 points. Yes, I've got it wrong again. So Morgan Karlsson of Sweden takes the hot seat. Well, perhaps it works like this. The sixth man out is actually the man who gets the most points and therefore wins the event. So Morgan Karlsson is actually 26 years old. The guy from now from Alicante takes the hot seat from Martin Corren. Martin Corren, Morgan Karlsson. Not a great deal of difference in those two names, even though they come from vastly different areas. So the Swede out of Alicante, and the next man out, riding for Kawasaki, is Alvaro Dal Farra of Italy. 29-year-old Alvaro Dal Farra, founder member of the Italian FMX Dabut team. That's great, Dabut, the FMX Dabut team, with his mate Massimo Bianconcini. So he's the second Italian out on a really beautifully turned out Kawasaki. Love the colour scheme. It's kind of not quite true team green Kawasaki green, but it is beautiful. From Belluno, rugby player, snowboarder, sponsored by Oakley, Kawasaki, Italy, Alpine Stars, Vans and Suomi. Now, his FMX successes include second in the Extreme World Tour in Prague in 2003, third in Geneva and in Ginevra in Italy in the FMX contest of 2003, and first in the Freestyler of the Year award for Italians in 2004. So the veteran Italians goes for a quick kind of heart attack. And then, that was an extreme. He didn't mean that to go on that long, did he? That was a great rock solid in which the bike nearly got away from him. And then he goes for a major Indian Air switchblade. Kind of look back Indian Air. Energetic little guy for a veteran 29-year-old. And then the Superman seat grab. And the first cliffhanger of this final. A grand old favourite that we haven't seen. But again, perhaps he just does those rock solids like that. He really lets the bike get ahead of him, get away from him, and pulls it back late. Again, the Indian Air switchblade. Going for the whip. That was an entertaining one. Left, right, switching his hands on that single-handed rear-fended seat grab. Oh, hello. Someone's throwing cones at him. That seems a little unfair. Okay, so the red light flashes. That's an interesting little kind of Speedway Stadium fixture. And that means that he's got to nominate his double pointer. Remember, he's got 280 points overall to beat here. And again, he goes for the rock solid, but just a one-handed grab at the end of it. And then he whips off his goggles from underneath his spectacular nerd helmet. Alvaro Dal Farra of Italy, self-confessed veteran of the proceedings tonight. Oh, I think somebody might be... Oh no, he's trying a quick burnout. I thought someone was going to get a free pair of Oakleys then. But no, instead he decides to melt the rear tyre. That means a few burning sore eyes on the far side of the Cologne arena here.
Ja, hier oben steht Alve, das hier dein Finale gewesen, hier seine Party-Mache. Wie sieht's aus, Alve, you ready? You're totally over, oder you start tonight the big party?
Yeah, of course. Now I'm a little bit tired, but I think one Red Bull, I'm already. Yeah! Right to party, man!
The party man is im Haus, aber...
One Red Bull and he'll be ready. He's tired after doing that. My goodness.
Backflip, why not today?
Yeah, I training a lot with Massimo this day, the weekend, last weekend. But today I don't have a good feeling. I prefer cleaning around with my big tricks, and I'm happy.
Also er ist happy. Wir warten ab, was die Judges sagen.
So Alvaro Dal Farra decides against producing the backflip. He's got 280 to beat.
Tja, da unten ist Morten Karlsson, momentan drittplatzierter, wohl wie ich sehe. Aber nochmal einen Applaus hier für unsere...
And he ends up with 268. He needed that backflip. So 268 then from Dal Farra, which means that Morgan Karlsson remains in the hot seat and looks pretty chuffed about that. Thumbs up, thanks mate, I'll stay here on the throne. So we expect the penultimate rider to come out any moment from now. We've had the four riders on Karlsson on 280, Coren on 274, Dal Farra on 268, and his mate Bianconcini on 245. Those are the scorers so far. One of those guys, well, Karlsson will at least be on the rostrum here. That intro could only be for the 29-year-old German veteran Sebastian Busti-Walter. One of the pioneers of the sport here in Germany. When he isn't riding, he finds time to work for Germany's leading motocross magazine, Moto X, or just has fun with his girlfriend, Maya. Busty, Maya, well, they go together. Rides for Team Upforce, supported through a wide range of sponsors, including Suzuki, Oakley and Eastpak. The first European freestyler to be invited to the X Games qualifiers in the United States of America in 2002 and in 2003. And finally introduced the backflip to his repertoire last season. With this
Wir machen mal noch ein bisschen Luft von da hinten, dass der Nebel sich verzieht. Alle in die Hände klatschen, der Nebel muss weg hier für den Airbustel. Freie Bahn hier für Basti Wolter.
His almost permanent presence at the night of the jumps meant he made it up to number 2 in the FIF-MXF World Ranking. But this year, he hasn't been present at all the rounds. So, rather surprisingly, Basti Wolter languishes in 14th place. He likes his BMX, his snowboarding, his mini bike racing, and also likes to shoot and edit his own videos. He was quite a successful motocrosser as well, finished 5th in the German Junior Championship as a kid. North German 125 champion in 1992, and got his international license in 95. Finished 5th in the German 500cc motocross championships 10 years ago. Qualified for some 500cc World Championship Motocross Grand Prix rounds. 1997, even after a shoulder injury, top 3 results in the German Championships before turning to freestyle motocross. So Basti Wolter now has to justify that immense reception that he got. Well, he needs to justify better than that. Let's hope that was just a warm-up. And straight away we get the lazy boy from Basti Wolter. If crowd noise stands for anything, then he's there, isn't he? Does a kind of double candy bar hop. And then a rock solid, which didn't have the kind of, well, you've got to say it didn't have. And he's fitting just about everything into that flying Flintstone. Oh, and he really got the legs out big and strong for a bar hop there. So what Wolter does, he kind of does the old-fashioned things, but does them well. He does them well, he does them strong, he's tall, so he's got to go for good stretch. Not too keen on his whips, I have to say. Another big Indian air. The Swede watches. Basti settles for another second-rate whip. But the crowd, of course, absolutely love him. What's he going to produce next? Our little codged up red light is flashing, which means he's got to come up for his double score. This is important for Basti Wolter. Oh, right. Okay, then. That was a kind of bar hop, kind of double-footed bar hop. But I can't imagine that unless the crowd have a huge influence on the judges. Incidentally, the judges tonight, there are 4 of them. Marco Roth, native German, Mattia Marinelli of Italy, Sven Macker of Germany, and Alexandra de Noël of Switzerland. Basti Wolter, extraordinary success overall.
Der letzte Sprung sah ja ein bisschen sketchy aus.
Das täuscht. Ich glaube, ich schneide mir die linke Seite von meinem Lenker ab. Ich brauche nur noch die rechte.
Also Basti Wolter, der erste Freestyle-Fahrer, der nur noch mit einer Hand springt. Sag mal, wie schwierig ist denn in Wirklichkeit...
And that was a double, I beg your pardon, I didn't see it, was a double sarang wrap and a one-handed landing in his double score, double jump at the end.
Wir können ja mal versuchen, mit beiden Händen über die Rampe zu springen. Beim One-Hand-Takeoff muss man im Sitzen abspringen, was man normalerweise nicht macht. Muss eine Hand vom Lenker wegnehmen und dann wollen die Jungs ja noch einen Trick sehen. Also ich habe es nur für euch riskiert. Danke!
He's been winning in Germany, in Tel Aviv, in Switzerland, in Nîmes, in France. Since that first victory in the air cross in Germany in 1999. Busty Walter. And he gets a somewhat inexplicable 292 points. So Walter goes top. And the only guy left to take him on is 10 years his junior. Walter, 292 points. Where did they pull that from? Well, there are two Germans on the judging panel.
In Hamburg, Basti Walter mit Long Distance Backflip. Riesenapplaus für Basti Walter.
So Busty Walter is threatening to do the backflip in Hamburg at the Cologne Arena on November the 11th, the round 10 of the World Championship Series. So Morgan Carlson now knows that he's going to be either second or third in this competition. Busty Walter takes over the throne. So wearing a Jack Bernacle t-shirt, it's Remy Bizois from Bergerac in France on the YZ 250cc Yamaha. Sponsored by Yamaha, Split, Globe, Vestel and Epone. The great... Oh, this kid likes to go big. That's what we like to see. Get some huge Indian air going straight away. One-handed Superman Sig. All right, that's a heart attack there. A carry heart attack from Remy Bizois. And a very fine cliffhanger there from Remy Bizois. Sixth in the night of jumps last year in Bern in Switzerland. Currently 11th in this championship, and he is going for some big air, this kid. What he needs, he really needs to pull off a terrific backflip, I think, if he's going to get the right side of it. Oh, and just as I say that, he does a perfect one. It wasn't a big one, it was the shorter of the ramps, but it worked a treat, perfectly landed. And from Remy Bizois. And another of those great rock solids where he lets the bike escape from him, as Del Farah did, and just yanks it back at the last possible moment. And again, another of the backflips. And the extreme whip. One of the new hot shots of the season, went straight into the X Games this year. Only performed his first backflips at the end of last season. That first outing in Bern, the night of the jumps last year, he finished sixth, got into the final and finished sixth in his first proper international freestyle motocross competition. Now what can he produce here? What's he going for? Oh, and like so many of the guys, he kind of goes for that kiss of death. Would that be enough? Was that the right one to save until last for Remy Bizois? His hobbies are FMX, speed stuff, partying. Well, that seems to go together. So as Busty Walter and Morgan Carlson consider what's gone on, this is Remy Bizois. Has he won it? Can he top that 292 points?
Wir müssen mal fragen, wo das Problem liegt. What's up, Remy? The run was good, everything is okay, you're okay, and this is important.
Yeah, I know, but I feel very bad because I saw a lot of friends crashed, and Matt now is injured. He broke his femur, and yeah, I hope he will be back soon on his bike and rock like he do. Also, Jeremy René have a big crash, and it's too much in my head. So.
Okay, Leute, ihr habt's gehört. Heute Morgen, ich möchte es nur noch mal kurz erklären, 3 seiner Freunde hier richtig hart gecrasht.
Remy Bizois finished 10th at the last round in Bern. I beg your pardon, finished in 5th place with 10 points. Reached the final as he seems regularly able to do. That was a kind of kiss plus, wasn't it? That was the kiss of death plus. He went past the front fender by a complete head width. The question is, has the slightly glum 19-year-old managed to do enough? Actually, I do beg your pardon, he's just turned 20 on the 11th of June. So has 20-year-old Remy Bizois done enough to become champion here tonight? 292 points to beat, that's the score of Busty Walter.
Gewinner hier in Köln, Remy Bizois aus
297. He has. Bizois has overcome the home crowd, has toppled the home hero. Perhaps that'll bring a smile to his face. Busty Walter says thank you very much and cheers on the young Frenchie. So Remy Bizois scores the first of his IF, probably by far from being the last of his international freestyle motocross victories here at Cologne. He's going to remember this place rather fondly. So in the Suzuki-backed arena, he's beaten the Suzuki's top man, Sebastian Busty Walter. Bizois takes it ahead of Walter, Morgan Carlson, Martin Corrin, Alvaro Dalfara, and I think rather unluckily Massimo Bianconcini, who suffered for being the first man out of the blocks tonight. Bizois perhaps benefiting from being the last one out. He pulls a neat, tight backflip. He's just got to do a bit more with it. So congratulations for the other two guys on the rostrum. Walter looking a little bit happier about this than the man in 3rd place, Morgan Carlson. Well, there you have it. You've got the old boy in the middle, the youngster on the left, and the junior schoolboy on the right-hand side. Walter knows how to play to the crowd. He takes 2nd place. The Marseillaise, what else? That's it, Remy, you've got to learn to do these things. So Remy Bizois beginning to enjoy the fact that he's won his first IF MXF Night of the Jumps here in Cologne. You know, he's as reserved as his 17-year-old compatriot Christophe Pourcel when he won the World MX2 Motocross Championship a couple of weeks back at Ernay in France. I think he's loosening up. I think he just might enjoy the party tonight. Now we can enjoy a few other aspects of the pre-party. Oh dear, and here goes the here goes the champagne. Oh, the poor girls are going to have to find themselves a shower. I think the boys might have to as well if they're going to look their best tonight. They look a bit like my young son when he managed to get a tube full of glue in his hair. Remy Bizois escapes off the rostrum. Nobody's told him that he should stay up there and enjoy the celebrations a little bit longer. And as the crowd begin to leave this packed arena here at Cologne. Oh, that was great. That was a really terrific rock solid, wasn't it, that he produced. And it was just the fact that he just pushes the envelope a little bit further than Busty Volta. Busty's been doing this a long time now. And he's comfortable with what he does, but Bissois is looking for that little bit extra. And tonight, he found it here at Cologne at the MFX Night of the Jumps. Remy Bissois of France becomes the first, it's his first victory here in Cologne. It certainly won't be the last. We look forward to seeing a lot more of this kid. And from Jack Bernicle, congratulations to Remy Bissois. Thanks very much for your company here in Cologne, and see you again at the next International Freestyle here on Eurosport. Good night.